Hi guys, Elizabeth Gardner here. How you doing? What you doing? It's me. Story time. Some of my closest friends know me as Lucky or Lucky Harms. I played roller derby for, 5-6 years, something like that. Some of the best times of my life on and off the track with that sport. And I was called by a friend to share a little story about how when early on in my derby career, I got injured. I tore my MCL. I can't even remember now. It's what exactly the injury was, but I tore something up in here, and it was devastating at the time because I had just made the travel team, and God, roller derby, oh, it has my heart so much. It's such a fucking rad sport to be able to play as a grown-ass person. It's so empowering and thrilling and exhilarating and fun and challenging and all of the things. And I just remember feeling so heartbroken that during one of my very first scrimmages, that injury happened, and it just felt like such a gut-wrenching, heart-breaking setback. And the reason I'm sharing this story today is for a few reasons. One, a friend asked me to share my story because she saw from the sidelines as she coached my growth as a skater and as a person. And it's something that kind of stuck with her, which I love, also stuck with me. And it was a lesson in playing the sport and being a teammate and all that. But it was also a life lesson that I'm actually seeing now in my art career replay. So I definitely wanted to share it, not only with her and her skaters and her league and my former league, Burning River Roller Derby, shout out. But just in general, I think anyone that comes across this message, if you're seeing it, it's probably timed perfectly for you for a reason. So I'm feeling called to share on a really broad level. So that's what I'm doing today on the YouTubes. But so the thing is that I had made up my mind really early into playing derby that I was going all in, and I wanted to try to be my best, and I threw myself into the sport in such a magnificent way, as many do, because it really does, like I said, it ticks all the boxes for a lot of us. So when I got the injury, it felt like, God, I have to put all that on pause, I had to get some water. I had to put all that on pause, and it really, it felt like, at the time, it felt like, wow, I have this injury. It's going to take me minimum 4 or 5 months, I think it was, to even get to a point where I can put on roller skates again. How the hell am I going to do what I want to do with this roller derby thing when I'm on the sidelines hobbling around? I was on crutches. It was awful. But I made up my mind that I was going to show up. I was still going to go to practices. I went to every single travel team practice. I think maybe I missed one. That might not be true. Anyway, semantics. And I sat, hobbled, stood on the sideline, and I watched. And I watched my teammates play and grow, and I watched them gel. And I remember feeling, I'm getting emotional thinking about it now, because I remember feeling so outside, so sort of left out of the mix. I felt broken and left behind, and I was watching these skaters that I was sort of at the similar skill level with improve rapidly with every practice, and I was just thinking, God, if I could just get on skates, I could get better too. But I continued to show up because it felt like what I needed to be doing to be there for my teammates and to be there for myself, honestly. And I'll be honest, one of the things that kept me showing up was that I knew nothing about the fucking game. So every time I would skate when I was not injured for the injury, I didn't, half the time, especially when we were scrimmaging, I didn't know what the fuck just happened. Roller derby happens in an instant. These are, up to 2-minute jams, and it's like these 2 minutes, 1 minute of your life. Just everything happens so fast. And when you're a brand new skater like I was, who literally had never skated successfully before joining roller derby, like bananas. You're so focused on keeping your feet under you and staying sort of present in your body that beyond that everything sort of feels elusive and everything happens so fast, and you're, the whistle blows and you're like, what the fuck just happened? I'd say pardon my language, but I'm not fucking sorry about it. So anyway, you don't really, everything sort of just flies at you at the speed of light. And so for me, it was like, okay, well, I can't be on the track learning. I'm a learner by doing, first and foremost. And I was like, well, if that can't happen for me, at least I can learn the rules of the game from the outside. And watching something, even if I'm not a person that learns by watching, there will be value in that for me. So it was, there was several reasons for showing up and continuing to show up. And that was definitely one of them, was learning the game and being able to, I started to see the value after the first practice of showing up and really listening to what the coaches were saying real time. And instead of physically being on the track trying to figure my shit out, listening to implementing what the coaches were saying, staying on my feet, all of those things that would have happened had I been able to have been on skates. I was able to sort of turn what I thought was a setback into a superpower, because all of a sudden, instead of having to figure all that out while I was doing it and not killing myself, I was able to just observe and watch the coaches coach the skaters and move them and tell them, instead of this, let's try this. Okay, now that was successful. Now let's do it again 10 times. Now let's, oh, you missed out on this thing. Like so many things. It's such a fast moving, fast paced game. Sport, and I was able to really sort of slow it down in my mind and really pay attention to what was happening on the track and the feedback that the skaters and the team was getting. And I was able to ask questions. I was able to say, this person got that penalty. Like as the skaters are doing their endurance or whatever it was, I was able to go to the coach and say, I noticed in this play you do this. What's going on with that? Like, what's the, whatever question came up. There were moments and opportunities where I could question the coaches and say, tell me more about this. I learned about not only the fundamentals of skating and watching different styles of skaters, because everybody's body is different. We all do things differently, but there are some fundamentals that I didn't have the opportunity to see and utilize when I was on skates myself. I was able to see people correct their own mistakes. I was able to see people make the same mistakes over and over and over and not be able to correct them. It was all just time so well spent. I mean, go me. But truly, I just thought, okay, well, if nothing else, this time off of skates has been really fucking hard, because all I want to do is put skates on and play roller derby and just have fun. And, this is it's supposed to be my time, and I felt like it got taken away from me with the injury. But if nothing else, I learned about the game. I, did timer for when we would scrimmage at the end, or they would scrimmage. I always held the stopwatch for the people in the box. And so I would ask them what penalty they got, and we would, I would figure out, okay, what's a forearm penalty? And I would just had committed to spending time mentally learning about the game. And it was great. And so I thought, okay, that's cool. I showed up for my team. I went to the practices. I listened. I was present. I didn't take my phone except for time on those penalty box things. I wasn't on my phone dicking around. I was present. I paid attention. I watched. I decided that this was not going to be my downfall, that this was going to be something that would help me be a better skater. And when it came time for me to come back from my injury physically and start to put on skates, it was another total learning curve of like, okay, shit, I can't, my body can't do things that it used to be able to do. My muscles that I had developed over the past year skating, the endurance I had built up, all that stuff that I'd worked really hard for, I was back at square one. So it felt really, it was like a whole nother level of traumatizing to have to start over physically. So I had to kind of battle back that way. But I continued to show up and skate on the sidelines and be present for myself and my team. It wasn't until, I would say, when I started to build up that endurance and was able to actually do full contact and fully play the sport again, that I realized what I had done was fucking genius. I'll say it. It was one of the single smartest things I've ever done, was showing up for those practices and paying attention and deciding that it was going to be an asset. All of a sudden, instead of being like, oh my God, the whistle just, what the fuck? Like, where's the jammer? Like, you're looking around when you're a new skater like that. Like, what the actual fuck just happened? All of a sudden, I knew exactly what happened. I knew where the jammer was. I knew where I was supposed to be. Now, mind you, I was such a new skater and had just come back physically recouped, that I couldn't necessarily always get my body where I knew it should be at the right time yet. But fuck if I didn't know where I was supposed to be at any given time. And if I didn't know, I knew how the game was supposed to be played. I knew the strategy. All of a sudden, I knew the most effective way to hit somebody out of bounds and not go out of bounds after them. Like I said, I couldn't physically always do it, but my brain was light years now ahead of where my body was. And because of that, I was able to then really hone in and focus on getting my skills where they needed to be, skater-wise, strength-wise, mindset-wise, endurance-wise. And that stuff catches up so much faster and more easily when you have the ability to see the game as it's unfolding on the track. So what I would have to say to anybody that has an injury, whether you're a seasoned player or not, make the decision to turn your setback into a superpower, whatever that means for you. Decide how you're going to show up for yourself and your team and follow through with it. And then celebrate yourself later on when you're on the track and you start to see that those things, my coach will tell you, I was a way better player after that injury than before. And all I had done was been on the sidelines and rehabbing and taking care of myself physically the best I could. I wasn't skating and improving and learning on the track firsthand, but I became a really good player really fast because I made those decisions and I followed through. So go me, go you. You got this. Outside of the derby scope and how it's applying to my art career and how I think it could apply to real life stuff for anybody that comes across this message. There's a lot of times in life where again, I might get emotional because as I was trying to think through what I wanted to say for my friend and for the skaters that I don't or do know that are currently injured, or 5 years ago from now, when someone comes across this random ass YouTube video and is feeling that for roller derby or whatever else, it really is, it really hit me that it was a life lesson, and that not only was it a life lesson, but it was a life lesson that I need to hear at this exact moment too. And it's like, you know, in my art career, I have all these really big, huge, scary, like fun, exciting, exhilarating, challenging goals and aspirations and things, and I can see myself. I used to be able to see myself being a really good skater and being a real asset for my team. You know, when I was like a deer on ice, a baby, when I was Bambi on ice, like, I didn't have the skills yet, but I could see it and I could feel it and I could taste it. And, I'm having that with my art right now. I have all of these really cool, big dreams to like sell out these, you know, stadiums and have people watch me create my art. And I know it's gonna happen. And I know that I'm not really in charge of how I get there or when, because that's just life. That's just how it works out, right? But I want to be there so bad, like now. But the thing is, you just have to show up as you are and control what you can in the moment to moment, month to month, week to week. And right now I am able to have epic paint sessions in my garage. And right now I'm able to develop the muscle memory and the imagination and the stamina and all of the things that come with creating the way I want to create. And so if you find yourself in a place where you can't be doing yet the things that you know that you're capable of, it's okay. It's okay to slow down, take a step back and be like, you know what? I'm gonna make the most of what I have right now, my current circumstances. I'm gonna hope and plan for better and more, and I'm gonna allow that to come when the time is right. Today I'm gonna show up for me with the knowing in my gut that more is on the way and things get better. We improve physically and mentally every single day, especially if we make the decision to and put our mind to it. So I just want to say, you got this. You're a superhero, even if it doesn't feel like it physically or mentally at any given moment. And you decide. You decide what to do with your time and your body and your effort and your mindset. I've always been a big believer in power of the mind. And that roller derby injury was one of the biggest teachers of that and lessons that I actually physically lived myself ever. And God damn, was I good at roller derby. I miss that sport. Anyway, I love your guts. You got this. Bye.